think I've got to keep my kind of elevation because I did something daft at work a couple of days ago. And this isn't the vote. The right hand is necessary. Election of mayor for the municipal year 24-25 and the signing of declaration of acceptance of office. Nominations received in advance. Councillors Daw and Haynes. Would you like to read yours out?
Sure.
Or
No, I'll read mine out.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll read and do a little bit extra if you like. Okay. I submitted my candidature for mayor in a spirit of renewal. Renewal of the core values and council objectives many of us share. Renewal of positive and practical approaches in managing our democratic decision making and renewal of our council institutions and our relations with each other. Many of you know that I previously served on Cardigan Parish Council, Holmesworthy Town Council before election to BSTC. And I'm presently Vice Chair of Poundstock Parish Council, although if elected Mayor, I would step back from my Poundstock PC duties to prioritise this role. Whilst I stood for Town Council under the banner of BSCA all that time ago, I joined you under the description promoting democracy. I never really got a chance to kind of explain what that meant. And basically, in my role of mayor, if I became mayor, if you elected me mayor and chair of this institution, I would seek to encourage opinions and positions from all councillors, and I would also robustly defend decisions democratically made by this council. For me, acting as mayor and chair of council will be to promote our collective leadership of our communities. Encouraging decisions and actions that improve equality, reducing poverty, and build community wealth in our town is very important to me. And I think these are values that we all share. But just to be clear about where my values are, because rereading that, I'm thinking that's a bit of a kind of very flat type of language. I often think I'm involved in all sorts of political things, and sometimes you lose track of what you're here for. And really, at my core, I'm fighting poverty. And it's a word that I've said before that people don't use. They use things like cost of living crisis and all the rest. But for me, to fight poverty, really, people need a decent income, a healthy meal, a roof over their heads, affordable energy. And I have to say to you that we have been the right people in the right place at the right time. We have done our best with the limited powers that we have available to support our communities through our present cost of living crisis. We've backed initiatives that have helped young people, many community groups stepped in and preserved community services, promoted Bude-Stratton culture and assisted the Bude climate jury process. But let's just be clear, we live in a beautiful place, and I will repeat this now because I never tire of repeating this basic statistic, is that we live in the third highest area in Cornwall for child poverty. There are only two other places that beat us for child poverty. That is an estate in Falmouth, in Penryn, and an estate in Penzance. So we live in a beautiful place. I'm intimately aware of that. And the things that we do in our limited way, I feel that we make this a better place and have done, and will continue to do so. We've inherited the ambitious Storm Tower project. I feel that along with that, our youth facility and skate park development will prove to be a real, vibrant, important legacy for our council, and therefore I do affirm my total support for this important infrastructure for generations and social development that will benefit Bude-Stratton, young people and beyond. I do have to say to you that we need people with decent incomes in this place, and therefore I believe our tower team should be no less priority. I absolutely recognise the benefits the team could bring, and I absolutely accept that it needs to be an agile institution to do things that we cannot. But it still needs democratic oversight of our council. I encourage it to have independence, to innovate and the rest, but nothing that is done in Bude-Stratton should happen without Bude-Stratton. Our most important resources are our staff, and through my experience of workplace relationships and issues, I've quite a bit of experience. I'm a union workplace rep. I could work to promote a respectful partnership between representatives and all those who work for BSTC. Finally, I believe a lot of talk goes on about this is our last year, but I do believe that our last year should be our best year. We now have really experienced councillors around this table. It should be one of renewal and completion, one that lays the groundwork for future council initiatives, but also one that balances the demands placed upon our hard-working staff. And my goodness, they do work hard. And whatever we do, we need to pace ourselves. We need to do what we can do within an affordable, limited budget, because we do not want to punish the very people that we try and help. So, if you elect me, I shall do my very best towards making our last year our best year, a year of renewal.
Okay, I'll do mine and then Laura. I'm putting myself forward for a second term as mayor with the aim of getting this legal position of being able to hand over to the new council next May, a strong organisation that is in a stable position financially and operationally, and capable of delivering any new projects that council may have in mind. To that end, this year will, for me, be one of consolidating our position financially and completing key projects like the skate park and the youth facility. It will also be a year of healthy relationships. The work of the county, youth planning partnership are gathering pace, and our relationship with them will be key to project delivery and getting community buy-in. A year ago, our relationship with the RBL and Pride was not in a good position, but we started to build bridges, and this has given us and them hope for a much improved relationship going forwards. But for me, the most important relationship in delivering any of the above is that between us and the staff. Without them, we wouldn't have delivered the work that we have done so far. As you know, we have started a process to try to address the problems in this relationship, and if re-elected, it will be a priority of mine to complete this process. One of the main advantages that I feel I have in this regard is my availability throughout the day, thanks to my flexible working hours. This means that I can take calls from BSTC staff or go into the office at very short notice to address problems or provide support and guidance as required. I believe that I have been effective during my term and have grown into the role. There have been several complex issues to navigate, and I've managed to challenge many challenging meetings, including the most recent extraordinary meeting of 170 residents. I would like the opportunity to build on this record and strengthen the role of the council in helping deliver the priorities for this community. I won't labour the point. You've had me for 12 months, you know what you did. Anybody else? Kevin?
A couple of years ago, we had a vote on raising the precept, and I was a new councillor, a new co-opted councillor at the time. And although I thought that we should raise the precept, I also thought that it was wrong of me, who personally had not gone through an election process, to be the deciding vote on that. And I would have been. If I'd have voted for us to raise the precept 2 years ago, that would have happened. I argued for it, and I ended up not voting and abstaining because I thought that was the most principled thing to do. And today, we are in a similar position. We have a close call to make. There are two, in my view, good candidates. We have Mike, and if you look on that honours board that's over in the Parkhouse Centre, I don't think very many of those people who were mayors and chair of the council would have swapped for Mike's year. It's not been an easy year by any standards, and it's testament to the character of the man that he's putting himself back for another 12 months. And we have Steve, who has a brilliant track record in local government. He definitely has the skill set and the personality to do the job of mayor, to chair this council and to represent this community. But for whatever reason, and it's not because of Steve and it's not because of Mike, there are other factors in play that have made this mayoral election very, very divisive. And I know that there are people around this table that would struggle if Mike were re-elected. And I know there are people around this table who would struggle if Steve got elected. So although I haven't sought a formal nomination, I am tonight doing the opposite of an abstention, and for a similar reason of, how can I put it, principled, for a similar principled position, I am throwing my hat in the ring, not as an abstention, but to give everybody here an opportunity to walk away from a potentially divisive choice. So I can't offer you an agenda as mayor because I don't have an agenda. All I have is the knowledge that from here on in, we will have 11 further meetings of the full council. I believe that I can chair those 11 meetings of the full council in a fair way, giving everybody a fair chance. And I believe that I can liaise with the staff and have that sort of quasi-management role. Like Mike, I'm flexible in the fact that my working day doesn't start until 3 o'clock. So I'm available throughout the morning and the early part of the afternoon, virtually every day. So there are practical reasons why I could do the job. I have no particular agenda to do it, but I feel I could be a compromise candidate if that is what this council wishes to go for. Thank you.
Anyone else? Right, well, the people who nominate took over and second one.
I think I'm the only one who needs a nomination.
Yeah, so do you have
Yeah.
the?
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah,
It's
people
previously
are,
done.
yeah.
Anybody want to nominate me?
I'll nominate him.
Anybody want a second?
Okay.
The statement out
We've
for
got notice.
Vote.
Yeah.
And they Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Yes, yes, we do. We do. In fact, it's only for the mayor. It's not for the mayor. We don't do the vote for the deputy mayor until that's how the mayor is elected. Sorry. There has to be an absolute majority. Person with the least votes will have to drop out, and then they have to accept.
All right.
So the mayor has to have an absolute majority.
So I know, sorry.
So it's okay, it's all just me, so we go. Just run through this.
Why would it be happy to do that?
I can't remember the check.
But I get it right. So, yeah.
You want to say that? Yeah. Yeah.
Now drops out and vote again with the two. Obviously, not an hour.
Oh, no. No, I still have that into the room.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Or we get it right. Right.
Right, so the votes for it have been verified, and results are as follows. 3 to councillor Caldwell, 7 to councillor Gore, and 7 to councillor Hayes.
We weren't anticipating this twice.
No.
Now, Kevin drops out, and we all vote again.
Yeah. Nobody has one of his bets.
I have to say, so, yeah,
That's really
I've got
easy.
to come with paper as well. To be safe. I might slip one back and yeah. Everybody got their second vote now? Yeah.
Yep. Right, okay, ready? Yeah.
Some you can abstain, some shouldn't.
I got it stuck in there.
So you're sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
And you can't go.
Fighting, not. Yeah.
My.
Yeah, that's literally how embarrassing it was. He slammed his guard down like two magnetic steel. And the last couple of before it's full, the 5% fell over and stopped that out, so I shoved it back in and this hand. Didn't get out of the way for it, basically. Everything the accident worked for is
Yeah, so the results are in. The newly elected mayor is Councillor Haynes.
Congratulations. I could relax first. Yeah, well, congratulations, Councillor Haynes, and thank you all for bearing with me for the last year.
Thank you, Mike.
And thank you to staff for. I wouldn't thank you, but. Right way. Well done. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Right. Thank you. Back for it.
Can my first act as mayor be to formally thank Mike George for, as Kevin said, facing an extremely difficult year as mayor, and basically thank you, Mike. Can we give you a round of applause, please? Right, well, I'm going to rely on you a lot at this point.
I would like to say congratulations, Mr. Mayor. Would mind signing your acceptance, and I can witness that as well.
Lou, have you still got my pen on that here?
Slow pop and get some strong pens. Yeah. Yeah.
I've got one here. So. Okay. Thank you, Councillor. My first act is to help conduct the election of deputy mayor for the municipal year 2024 to 25. And the nominations have been received in advance. That they are Councillors Hannah and O'Sullivan. Of course, we could always have a dark horse rolling out of the room. So, the first thing I would like to say to the two gentlemen, Councillor Hannah, could you pick a number between 1 and 10?
7.
Councillor O'Sullivan, pick a number between 1 and 10.
Shall we go on alphabetical order?
Can you pick a number between 1 and 10, please?
Yeah, 11.
Councillor Hannah, can you go first?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm instantly wishing that I had a copy of what I've written in front of me.
Yes.
It's all right. You should ask. Yeah, I'm happy to just try and speak. So becoming a councillor was never in any life plans, in truth. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was never in my life plan to be sat around this table, let alone to put myself forward as deputy mayor. But one of the things that's always been a thread running through my life is a desire to contribute to our community. And so putting myself forward as deputy mayor is simply because I want to contribute, want the opportunity to contribute to the community more fully. I experience public service as an honour and as a privilege. And I'm passionate about the impact that public service can have on the lives of those we're elected to serve and represent. Yeah, for me, being part of the council is an opportunity to positively influence the conditions that shape people's lives. Local council is a level where that's subtle and where the possibilities are great, but also quite small sometimes. But we have an opportunity to have a positive impact on the lives of people locally. And that's something that I'm drawn to contribute to. I'm told that I'm experienced as a calming and unifying influence. I don't know if that's true, but it's something to live up to. And I'm standing because I'm asking for the opportunity to contribute more fully to the people of Bude-Stratton. They helped to raise me and have given me a great deal over the years. I'm also asking for the opportunity to support and contribute to our staff team and clerk, and to foster trusting relationships with and between councillors, staff and the community. Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to support colleagues to be deputy mayor of BSTC for the municipal year 2024-25. As an independent councillor, I am not standing jointly with any candidate for the office of mayor. While I think it's important for the mayor and deputy mayor to be able to work together, I don't believe it's in the best interest of BSTC at this time for the mayor and deputy mayor to be in any sort of formal or informal alliance. As somebody who can legitimately claim a greater democratic approval of anybody who has ever sat as a Bude-Stratton town councillor, I hope colleagues acknowledge I can credibly claim to represent the community to the council rather than the other way around. I also hope colleagues accept that my voting record and contributions demonstrate my liberalism and commitment to inclusivity. Perhaps a vote for me on this occasion for deputy mayor is an opportunity for colleagues to demonstrate your commitment to the principle of inclusivity. While I don't expect everybody to agree with me all the time, I would ask the college to acknowledge the fact that I have pursued issues I have highlighted in my election promotional material, even when it has not been popular to do so. Clearly, the working relationship between councillors and members of staff has become an issue over this council term. While the relationship is always challenging, I believe there is no place for any sort of demonstration of disrespect for our officers. I hope colleagues will agree with me on this. As an independent deputy mayor, I believe I will be well placed to play a credible go-to role for staff who, for whatever reason, feel they may not be able to bring their concerns to the mayor, whoever that may be. As a Liberal, I will work constructively with whoever the council elects as mayor and will continue to promote the principle of inclusivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like? Is there anybody else who would like to put themselves forward? Okay, you had your hand.
Yeah, just if anybody wants to ask if me anything or to challenge or anything, that's fine. If not, then I request a recorded vote, please.
So, do we usually have a recorded vote?
We can do, if it's requested.
In which case we will have a recorded vote. Yeah. Therefore, we won't. It's okay. Okay, I asked everybody now.
You can have written about it if you want to. So can just put their name on it and then it's recorded. No, it's not.
How do you feel about that shot?
Oh, right, you want to do it that way.
We could do a written ballot and then it could be simply recorded in the minutes.
No, I think that's not exactly that. The intention is that the information, how people vote
Is a public event. In which case, no, we'll have a straightforward show of hands, and I will ask people to keep their hands up, because there's a lot of us in the room, and officers will need to make an accurate count. Okay, we will do this in alphabetical order, and therefore, I ask you now, put your hand up if you want to vote for Councillor Hannah.
Sorry, no, I'm.
Can we?
You record the names.
Oh, there, sorry, I didn't see you. That's right.
There was 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, yeah, 10.
Okay. Good. You put your hands up and keep them up. If you're going to vote for Councillor O'Sullivan, please be aware that Councillor Dawes is suffering a bit.
You don't mind, I am going to slope off and get some painkillers after
I
that.
think Councillor Dawes, you could put your hand down.
Well, it's actually better up.
Yeah.
Yeah, both the heart and lowers the pressure apparently.
I hope it was all reported and processed properly.
Filling in the accident report where I have to admit that it was the safety barrier I shut on my own hand. It's going to be a work of literary genius.
Well, was the safety barrier exist to say?
Probably it's a me, but,
Okay.
when-
Okay, so what is the Okay, so I'm happy to declare that Councillor Hannah has been elected Deputy Mayor of Bude-Stratton Town Council. Okay, so we now move to item 3 on the agenda, which is public participation. During public participation, members of the public are invited to comment on matters within the parish. So, could you put your, I will go around and ask people if they would like to make a comment. Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Okay.
Just in reference to item 5 on this evening's agenda, the report that you're going to receive from the climate jury of the school. Now, this week I've had ongoing exchanges with the representatives of the climate jury since the meeting in the Park House. Pretty interesting stuff. I will be absolutely fascinated to see what the youngsters from the school got to say, because it's going to affect them. It sounds like more than it's going to affect me, whatever is decided to do. So I'm really, really looking forward to hearing that. The one thing that I will say, and I bear in mind that the presentation from the grown-ups is being considered, I think, in July. Is that correct? Or until July? It says here to receive a presentation from Bude Schools mini climate jury and accept the recommendations. I would prefer that it said receive, because I would hope you will give consideration to the recommendations rather than just accept them. A splitting of hairs.
Okay. Is that a question?
Is that a question?
Are you asking?
It can be a question.
Okay. So, you give some advice on it?
My thoughts are that I'm sure that members would consider the recommendations before accepting them. So I think it's part of the same
Yes.
process. That would be mine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Mr. Mayor, congratulate yourself and the new deputy mayor. I think you'll find it be a bit of a current learning curve, but you've already said that. The only other thing I wanted to say is that this year is not a bicentennial year in relation to the canal, and but the View Canal and Harbour Society will be attending the Heritage Day in July, and we will be opening the Bars Workshop from the first Sunday in July to the last Sunday in September. I believe all councillors will be getting an invitation to come and visit what is their property and to see the tugboat, because it's quite an important vessel. We're also in the process of researching applying for Bude and the canal to be a heritage park. I know that Cornwall Council were quite keen on that because it's a useful thing to have when you apply for grants for things that need to be done. But it would seem that to be a heritage officer, you have to have a heritage boat or ship. But if that could be stretched, we do actually have the only existing example of the Bude Canal tugboat, which is in the ownership of the town council, and maybe that could be used, bearing in mind that there are inclined planes throughout the system and all of that stuff. So that's what we intend to do in the next year.
Thank you. Would you like to say something, sir?
I would, please, if I may.
Okay.
I'd like to point out that I went to the town meeting on Tuesday and I said my piece there, but unfortunately not many councillors were there. So to those who were, I apologise and I will ask them to bear with me because I'm going to repeat the same thing. To those of you who weren't there, I'd like to say that I consider Bude, where I've lived all my life, a very special place. I consider we have some iconic things like the breakwater, the canal, lock gates, the seaport, and the last thing is the Downs. The Downs has been, in my lifetime, a green space for us all. The golf club have a certain amount of the Downs, of which they've looked after, and that leaves us with a pretty special relationship in that two parts of the town are built around a green space, and a large green space. Now, I feel that the town council is moving in a direction to say goodbye to part of that green space by putting the wheeled sports facility where they're going to. I have no problem with the wheeled sports facility when it is going to be an indoor facility that would take up part of the Downs and be covered with grassed area. It was only a small part. The new proposals by the mock-ups that have been released to the press seem to be quite extensive, and all the area lower from the cricket pitch is going to have different types of skate parks. Shall I just put it like that? Excuse me if that's not the correct term. My feeling is that the Downs are special. In my lifetime, the only part that's been actually enclosed is the part that Bude-Stratton Town Council enclosed to make the pitch and putt, but it's still green. We still have access. I'm afraid that you could open the floodgates to any organisation to further, if you carry on with this particular project in this place. Please don't think I've got anything against the children having somewhere to go, but look somewhere else, please. Because if you build these facilities where you're intending to, we will start seeing the removal of the green area. Next will come Cornwall County Council. They'll look at Crooklet's car park, they'll look at loss of revenue coming along, and they'll say, oh, we'll go up, we'll tarmac over the green space that is now the green car park. The and if you don't believe me, the town council, this in a different format, this particular town council has put forward plans surreptitiously to put 268 parking spaces on the pitch and putt in a previous, should we say, previous authority. Now, please, please, please think of the Downs as I've explained them, as I can. Think that they will be there for the future. The youngsters will have that green space to play on. Find somewhere else for your concrete. This authority likes to pride themselves on being an eco authority. This doesn't, putting concrete on the green space doesn't seem particularly eco-friendly to me. Thank you.
Councillor Dore, would you like?
Yeah, firstly, I apologise for not being there. I
know.
Yeah, I was in hospital at the time, otherwise I would have been there to chair it. Obviously we've discussed this before, Paul. What we're doing down there is off the back of quite a large consultation, and the rest, and we're doing exactly what we were asked. I think it was 78%. Top of my head, that might be wrong by a couple of percent. Asked us to do exactly what we're doing down there. And, you know, I take your point. You look at the diagrams and it looks huge, but, you know, the rest of the Downs, everybody else, the message was effectively hands off, don't change too much. So if we listened on that small area, I see no reason. I personally, I can't speak for the rest of the people around the table, but I'm not going to go against what was voted on by the rest. You know, I'm here to represent what the people have asked me to do. And they gave us a very clear message. And I think there was some rewilding planned and things like that. So for me, I would vote for what was asked in that consultation. You know, is it impossible that things will change in the future? Of course it's not. But for now, my vote will be guided purely by what came up in that consultation. And one of those was to expand the skate park. That's what we're doing. Obviously the designs have changed, but
that skate park was not put up as part of that consultation.
We asked if they would like us to expand skate park in its current area. That was the exact question.
In
its current thing. It was a consultation on the Downs, and the question was worded, might get this slightly wrong, I won't get it verbatim, but it was, would you like us to expand the current skate park facility in its current location? And the answer came back overwhelmingly yes, and that's what we based all of this on. That's what's helping with the funding base.
Did you have the area from the cricket pitch to Crooklet's car park covered in concrete?
I don't think we use those exact words, but there was a diagram of the area, and that facility as designed.
Well, agree to disagree.
Well, yeah, we can. But on that note, if you don't mind, I'm going to slow pop and get some painkillers and possibly a glass of wine.
Thank you, sir.
Could somebody read that one out at the lead council a bit for me, please? Thank you very much. Congratulations, Steve. I will catch up with you all soon.
Kevin, you have to say.
Yes. At the time of the consultation on the Downs, I wasn't a member of the council, but I was very vociferous that the Downs should remain exactly as it is. And I was wrong. I don't think we can be absolutist about the Downs. The Downs were gifted to the people of Bude for leisure pursuits. And there's very little on those Downs which you can say is a leisure pursuit for some of the younger people of the town. And we are, as a community, quite lacking in facilities for young people. And one of the things that consultation kicked up again and again was how poorly we are, how poorly the facilities are for young people. And I think that, like I say, I was an absolutist. and I took the view not a blade of grass should be concrete over. But if you look at the presentation that we were given by the skate park designers, it isn't going to be your typical concrete skate park. That is a bespoke design that fits in with the environment of that part of the downs. Now, I'm going to say that for your eyes, or perhaps even my eyes, it will be an enhancement. But it will be an enhancement for many, many people. And I really do think, I really advise everybody not to be absolutist and to give this facility a chance.
Thank you. Councillor Joker, I know you as a councillor, but you're also a member of the public as well.
I was going to ask a bit of a favour because I'm going to leave at 7 because I've got to be at another meeting. So I don't know, should I speak as a member of the public? Would that be easier rather than, is that okay?
I only just know the person who'd be happy.
Is that all right?
Okay, councillor Joker.
Thank you, and congratulations on your election. Well done. It's just a couple of things I wanted to come on to this evening. One is very much a local thing, and if you obviously, as you probably do, drive between here and Launceston, the B3254 is closed next week for quite some considerable time, effectively 24 hours. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. It will be open some of the time, but it's very unclear. So there'll be a convoy arrangement. So that's just a local thing. And then the other thing I wanted to encourage people to come along to is the Community Area Partnership meeting on the 10th of June, because I'm really clear the meeting between now and then, so I apologise in advance. And I wanted to sing the praises of Lorraine Corwin Turner. She's stepped up and she's now the vice chair of what we call our health working group. And we've already in the last 2 weeks, Sarah and I have been working really well together, and we're wanting, and it's a bit of an appeal really, if anybody knows an empty shop unit in Bude for a pop-up event, which we want to do over the summer, so I'm not fussed about the timings, but it's all around. We're trying to, a bit like it was happened, obviously, if you remember at Berries Avenue, there was a sort of a public meeting around, or public sort of open session around what the facilities and services were in Bude, but it was quite sort of overarching. This is particularly about health, and we're wanting to really get the message out there about what is available in the way of health and wellbeing services, whether that's the NHS, whether that's voluntary services, GP services, dentists, and we're going to get everybody together in a room. And we've actually already had quite a good response to that support, but that message that we want to get out to the residents of Bude-Stratton. Now, the reason why I'm putting my cap hat on is this one, and Community Area Partnership, is because our partnership area actually covers all the way down to Camelford now, whereas before it was the community network, if you remember. So the cap area is far bigger. So you're talking 26 parishes which need to get involved with health services, wellbeing, and all that sort of stuff. So we're doing one in Bude, and then we're going to do one in Camelford, and we may actually, if it's successful as a information gathering system, we may actually do these fairly regularly for residents. So again, it's just an information session really, but at the same time I'll let you know as soon as we know a spot, and if anybody has got an empty shop unit that they want to give us for a week, that'd be lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, being as councillor chairperson, talking as a councillor, do any councillors wish to ask any questions of councillor? Do any members of the public wish to ask a question of councillor chairperson? Okay, well, thank you, councillor chairperson.
That's all right.
Thank you. Member of the press, do you have a question? So,
oh, good evening. I've brought this up before, but read on the local paper last week that you've decided that the pride flag can be flown on any mast in Bude other than the one at Shoulder Hills.
yes.
And the thing is, does anybody realise what the pride flag means? It's nothing to do with the gay people.
Okay, can I just ask you to pause there? And I have to say to you to think about what you're going to say in case it comes across as offensive.
It's not offensive. It's not offensive.
Excuse me, can you let me finish? In case it comes, be careful what you say. In case it comes across as offensive, because if it does, I will stop you, because you might be talking about people who have a protected characteristic under the Equality Act. And therefore we respect that in this council here. So feel free to make your comment, but do choose your words carefully and be aware that I may ask you to stop.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the pride flag has got nothing to do with the gay people in the world. It is a colourful flag to attract young children to be radicalised. And think about the children in this parish.
Okay, I'm
And
going to ask
what's
you to
been
stop.
going on in school.
I'm going to ask you to stop now.
Are you?
Yes, I'm going to ask you to stop now.
Well, as a member of the public, and been here living here over 70 years, I believe I've got the right to speak.
Okay.
And I'm not going to offend anybody. I agree. Gay people have lived in Bude all my life and have
Can you
no
just
trouble.
stop? Can you stop talking, Mel? I'll explain to you why I'm asking you to stop talking. I'm then going to ask you a second time to moderate your language. And also,
Moderate my language.
yes, because you are attempting to identify a flag with a potential kind of slur on people who are a protected characteristic. Now, I would allow you to say some more. You're obviously going to have an opinion to give, and I will listen to that. But I do have to warn you that if you continue down the line of spreading a particular slur, then I will ask you to stop.
I'm not putting a slur against anybody. I'm on about the flag. What it means is a sexual flag, not the flag of putting the community together. It's been proven all over the world. And speeches have been given in different places, and 85% of the gay people in the world don't agree with the pride flag.
Okay. Have you made your point, sir?
Sorry?
You made your point now.
Yes?
Okay. First of all, can I robustly challenge your statistic? You haven't asked a question, but I will ask any councillors if they wish to respond to what you said. Okay. So, in which case, the public participation is finished. Now we're going to move on to some of the main business. Got an hour. Okay. Okay. Right. Item 4 is to receive apologies and accept the reasons from any non-attendance.
Yeah, so we've had apologies from Councillor Deering for personal reasons and also from Common Councillor Tilby.
Okay. And so do we vote to accept those?
No, just
You
received.
just received. Okay. And so we then move on to.
Right, so this is where we move this.
This is where we move this one. Okay. Item 6, to receive any declarations of interest on items on the agenda and agree any dispensations. I know why this one be moved because it concerns me.
It does. So I don't need declaration of interest.
Okay. Would you like me to make that declaration?
Well,
of interest?
Let's just see if there are any from any other
Okay.
councillors.
Okay, councillors, are there any declarations of interest on any items on the agenda?
Can I just say, if we're talking about the crime mean jury, that I was one of the people who presented at that jury, so I don't know if that means that's a declaration of interest or not.
Well, interestingly, so this relates also to the next part, which is the dispensations. So Councillor Hayes has actually requested dispensation in order to be able to remain in the room for that, for the very same reason, because he's been involved with the crime jury in seeing Councillor Hayes' situation. He's actually involved with a store as well.
Yes.
So that was one thing that we need to make sure that members were happy actually agree to that.
I didn't think that I would need a dispensation because the adult jury, the councillors who presented to that jury didn't have a dispensation, but I'm happy to be guided by you if you think that that's necessary.
I'm not overly concerned given that there's no financial implication.
Yes, in my case, because I'm employed by 3 people, there would be a perceived perception that there's a conflict of interest. Of which therefore I would ask that councillors give me dispensation to simply stay in the room and listen, and I do not intend to vote in any way on this issue where Bude Haven is concerned. So,
So I think we can note council purchases declaration of interest, and then move on to, if that.
so I've asked the council.
Which for the members of the community is a year pretty much from the start of this process. But I really don't want it to be their first experience of people coming to them and saying, here's some information, questions, you know, we'll help you understand it. We want you to reflect on it. What's your opinion on it? You know, we want you to come up with a set of recommendations, and then like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And they were inevitably going to feel a bit like that just
Yeah,
because of the
so
time
let's
frame.
just sit in a pile and go,
Yeah.
that was a nice exercise.
So there are some easy wins on some of them. Lovely Bike said, yeah, I can do free bike maintenance workshops at school, and I'll do this, that, and the other. And I forwarded that to John's PA, whose name I've forgotten. Claire. So, and some of it is like, we can give you this resources and this support and this information, but because a lot of it is reflective of their school community, it does depend on the school capacity. But they're quite, you know, there's 18 of them there, and each one sort of was likely to touch on more than one thing. So it's more that, you know, your other, because I bet you here, you're also, you know, school governors and clubs and groups and organisations and charities and the people that you know, your neighbours, your nan, you know, might be able to just put a little thing in that might help bring something.
It is not unusual for us to pass comment over things that we don't have agency over. We don't have agency over form council, and yet we pass comment over things that come across us from them. We obviously don't have agency over Bude Haven School. If we did, then we'd have a slightly different setup in their facilities. But I think it's perfectly reasonable for us to accept this recommendation and to endorse what the junior jury has said, with the caveat that, of course, we can't make this stuff happen.
No, the ask is just to receive the report, so that it's acknowledged that the town council has read the report, is my ask.
I don't know if I could ask a question to Lee. I've got a particular interest in this. My son is a school chef, and he has developed a system at his school that's been taken up by other schools, where the bottom line is he is giving the children more nourishing food within budget, actually less than budget. Greater take up of that food, and at the end of the week, shall we say, there is also excess prepared meals that go to what I shall describe as the needy in the community. Now, this is a system that he started at his school. I think I'm right in saying it's either 5 or 7 other schools have gone on board with it. And it's ignored that a lot of the school meal. Basically, what he's done is found local providers that enable him to do all these things, and lots of schools have actually into it. So I quite like your name.
Yeah, so if I give you my card, if you just
Yeah.
email me his detail. I mean, the school has just taken on a new caterer, so it might be.
But yeah,
they've got
contact
lots
is
of-
always an issue.
But yeah, email me with his contact details if he's happy
Yeah.
to share, because
Yeah.
collecting people together who have good ideas is part of what we're here for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for the presentation, and thank you to the children and everybody that visited and was involved in them. And it's interesting reading through the recommendations. But the thing that strikes me most about it is the majority of those recommendations, I haven't counted up, but the majority of them appear on first reading to be within the remit of the school management. So I personally, as a councillor here, would be really happy to note them. I'm really pleased to see what's been going on at the school. But I would imagine there ought to be some sort of expectation of the head teacher to be receiving these and agreeing to address them through part of his management with the school.
So he has sort of received them, and like I said, we've started a process of having a meeting. I am fully aware, and he is fully aware, you know, and clear with us that there isn't a member of staff that doesn't already have a workload that is completely full, which is why we're doing it and bringing it to you and talking about people, because although it is definitely within the school remit, a little bit of support and a little bit of push and a contact here and an idea there is what will bring this to fruition. And the other thing is, if you look at those recommendations, with their voices in your head, some of them are young. It was demographically represented, including those with special educational needs. Some of them are very young. They are affected by vapes. That one in there, that's about litter and vaping. It's part of their life. I didn't know that. Some of them are about their relationship to the land and the beach. You know, it says Bude has no green spaces. It's huge. It has a huge green space. So whilst it is their voice, those are those recommendations. As adults, we can read that and recognise that what they're saying is that they're not engaging with those spaces. So they take a while to digest. And yes, a lot of them sit with the school community. Because I guess when you talk about community, for them, that's what most of their life, that's where they are most of the time.
So if I might just gather word back, I don't want to risk disagreeing with you, but I don't think a little bit here or a little bit there is going to cut it. I think the school itself needs to take ownership of this and adopt it as it sees fit.
If you wanted to write to the school to ask to express that,
Well, also, interestingly, so one of our community jury members is a school teacher, and he has agreed to be the point of contact, and the headman is aware of this and is going to support him to act as that liaison and to take on this piece of work largely for the school.
It's the first time in the UK that we've been able to do this process in a school. So what's happened in Bude was written up and is included in some of the big international reports about what's going on with the assemblies and juries broadly. So it was a learning curve for us, but also lessons to be learned for other people. So I'm really, really grateful to the school that we were even allowed 12 hours with 18 of their students, with all of their pressures, with the curriculum. And I think it will be hard for them to hardline, yeah, we'll make this all happen, because capacity is tight.
Amanda?
Thank you. Just first of all, I want to echo Katie's words about thanking the children for what they've done, because it's brilliant. It's so good to see. Just a question about whether there are any plans to share this with other schools in our local area as a kind of, this is what we've talked about. This could be something that you might want to implement in their school. Some of this, it's just a really amazing list. It's already done and ready, and I just thought, my children attend Stratton at the moment, and I thought, wow, if they were handed this, maybe they would go through it and go, oh, we could do this, just.
Yeah, no, I haven't thought about that at all, actually. I mean, we've got the primary schools, and then I guess Bude is the only secondary school for this area, but it hadn't even occurred to me to share them with, Camelford or Launceston or Oswilly. I will write that down.
Again, just pass on my thanks to the children for taking part and giving us these taking the time on this. It strikes me that 5 years or so ago, the council introduced an environmental policy. There are lots of similarities there. We've addressed local food production and single-use plastics in the council. We're looking at how we manage our land in a more green way. And so the team here at Bude-Stratton have done a fantastic job on implementing an awful lot of those changes. And there might be, if there's a single point of contact at the school, or going forward over the course of the next the facilities and environmental committee meetings, opportunities to kind of share learning on how we've done what we've done in terms of our environmental footprint, and areas where we could do more with where the school could do more, or where they could sort of follow in our footsteps, if you like. So then we've made some fantastic progress internally with what we've done. And so great to kind of share that learning and then go forward together.
I'm just writing that down. Are you happy that I kind of email you in after festival, after June 1st, and follow that up? The climate festival on the 1st of June, lots of exciting things are happening. It's almost entirely free. And it might be that as that evolves, I'm hoping that, like, if the stuff with the school grounds comes, or that you identify the people who've got the capacity to do various parts. So if I can link you with someone who's got an eye on environmental policy, that'd be amazing. Thank you very much.
Any other councillors like to ask a question or say anything? Okay. So, Town Clerk, can you guide me on this now? Being as I'm trying to say as little as possible in the circumstances. Peter, you've got.
I might make it easy for you. I propose that the council receives the presentation from Views Mini Climate Jury and notes the recommendations.
So, we have a proposal, we have a seconder. Then in which case, does anybody wish to propose the second proposal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay, we now have 2 seconds. I fluffed that a bit, I apologise. Can we now vote, therefore, on that proposal? Those in favour? Is that right? Yeah. Those against? Those abstaining? Okay, so thank you so much for your presentation. You certainly don't have to stay here for the rest of the council business unless you want to. But we should. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to item 7, which is to elect members to committees and working groups and confirm meeting start times. Now, Town Clerk, I'm working you really hard, I appreciate that. But you have all the knowledge, really.
Well, I have the information that I need to help with this. So that's fine. So if we can start with the committees. So all of our committees have 9, should ideally have 9 members on them. So people have sent in their requests and we have put it on a little table like this and worked out who's sort of prioritise those, put the particular committee down to first choice and work all the way through. So we've got some results. So it's all fairly complete, I would say, and I can read out people in the committee, and I think that there are a couple of anomalies we need to deal with. Right, so on the Corporate Democratic Services Committee, this is full, if you like, it's actually overfull. So we've got 10 people who've asked to be on that committee for 9 spaces. So let me just tell you who's put themselves forward. So it's councillors Browning, Colwell, Daw, Hannah, Haynes, Herbert Coulson, Roy, Moores, O'Sullivan, and Purchase. Now, so what we really need to do is see if anybody is willing to step down from the committee, just because otherwise it will be too full.
Willing to do that.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, and the other way of looking at it is that those who put that particular committee down as their last choice, 4th choice, whatever, doesn't include Councillor Hannah, it's actually Councillors Colwell and O'Sullivan. So, but if everyone's happy, unless anybody else has something, no. Well, okay. Right, okay. Right.
Thank you, Councillor Hannah.
Right, now staffing committee, also no, we need to make some adjustments here. So that's also full with 9 people on it. So those are currently councillors Browning, Colwell, Daw, Diffie, Hannah, LeBroy, Moores, O'Sullivan and Purchase. Now, given that we have a new mayor who traditionally sits on the staffing committee. Yes. So if we include you, then we need to potentially ask somebody who's currently on there if they would like to prepare to step down. Those who have put staffing committee as their last choice are councillors Browning and Purchase. So I leave it to members to decide amongst you.
I'm going to step back.
Right, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, councillor Brown.
Right, okay.
So we have the second committee.
So we have staffing committee, right, so facilities and environmental services currently has 7 people on it. And those are councillors Alderby Boggins, Browning, Colwell, Daw, Moores, Purchase and Quinton. So there's opportunity there for 2 others to join if they wish.
Is there anybody who would like to put themselves forward? Councillor Hannah? Anybody else that would like to put themselves forward? Councillor.
Reluctant. Well, I'll fill the place, but if anybody else is not on the committee ever wants that, I'd happily step away from it.
Yeah, I am, it's potentially rests on how many of the others, if there are any other spaces, because there's other committees that I would put above in order of preference. So, but if there wasn't any more spaces, I would obviously take that on, you see what I mean?
So that are
Sorry to be sorry to be
Peter is happy not to do it if you choose to do that.
there are spaces on the cultural heritage committee
I
and
would
on
like to be
planning.
on that. Yeah.
So can I be clear,
Yes,
Amanda? Are you saying you would like to be on this committee or on the other committee that was just mentioned?
I'll leave this one tonight,
Okay.
and I'll.
Councillor Brian, I'm afraid you want to stay. Are you still willing? Right. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah. So, and then we have the Cultural and Heritage Committee, which has 1 space on there. So currently we've got councillors Alderby Boggins, Browning, Colwell, Daw, Dickey, Hannah, Herbert Coulson and LeBroy. Space for 1/3.
Okay. So Amanda, you put your hand up.
Thank you.
And then planning committee, really struggles membership. So there are 6 people at the moment, councillors Deering, Hannah, Herbert Coulson, Roy, O'Sullivan and Purchase. 3 spaces.
Okay.
I just think going on, so. Yeah.
So was I on this committee?
Yes.
Come off.
That's
If there are
it. You must come up, okay, with them, that's it.
So, but Councillor Hannah, you perfectly have a perfect right to step back.
I prefer not to.
Okay, right, so
Can I ask about the time of the meeting?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to
Yeah.
agree as part of this discussion actually today. So currently, planning meets on at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we might want to have a discussion that into effect.
Yes, yeah, because that's school pickup time.
do you want to have a discussion
We
now?
have that discussion now.
Let's seize on that discussion now in that particular committee before we resolve this. So that is now almost a road committee in terms of times compared to the committee, simply to a historical accident. But there might be good reasons why it was put on at 3 o'clock. I don't know. Councillor Tay, what sort of time would you prefer, and why would you prefer?
Yeah, of course. It's purely down to school pickup is at 3 o'clock for me, so I'm collecting thousands of children from various places. So just earlier in the day, I guess, would have been incredibly, more accessible.
So how long does a planning committee take?
May I refer to the contact committee? So the usually go in 5, is it, generally speaking? But I don't think should be 4 3, but
Right, yeah.
Is it something that we could, if when we meet as the first time committee, we could discuss at the time then? Maybe?
Because you can ask to be a member later on. Presumably. So yeah, so I'll leave it for now and see what happens with timings. If it changes, then.
I'm just wondering.
No, I'm just going to ask, because Councillor Roy, being a long-standing member of the council, why the planning committee is at that time? Because there's probably reasons.
Well, Tracy, the council meeting would be much better placed to answer that question, but my opinion and memory is that it takes place in working hours, because you quite often have to rely on, don't want to use the word expert witnesses, but other people from formal organisations to help us through the decision-making process.
Yeah.
Usually 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I'd just say, having been on planning committee for a while now, that we quite often do have people come in to talk about plans, their proposals and that. So that could have an impact on the whole of the procedure if it was moved outside what's perceived as normal working hours.
Okay, so can I propose that we don't change the time at the moment, and then if there is a suggestion of changing the time, that would have to be a matter for the planning committee itself to resolve. That's giving an opinion. I'm not.
Sounds.
So I'm just saying that we won't change it at this point. If that's if council. Okay. So please carry on.
So while we're on the issue of timings of meetings, the full council is obviously 6 o'clock. The other committees have been scheduled for 6:15, and there's a request from officers to change that to 6 o'clock as well. It's just in terms of the impact on those of us who are doing clerk in the evening meetings and then driving home. So that would just at that point now would make life make it for us.
Okay. Right. Do councillors have any particular views on changing the times of committees to 6 o'clock? Yes.
Personally, I prefer them all at 6 because I get confused. Why 6 o'clock? Why 6:15?
Just a fan of whatever helps the officers.
Okay, great. Well, can we, that is a change. I propose that we change the committee times to fall in line with full council times, so they'll start at 6 o'clock. Do I have a seconder? Multiple people. I think that was Ethan that might have just got his hand up. Therefore, can we vote on that? Those in favour? Let's go.
Was that it for the
No.
planning? Was that it for the planning? Was there anybody else? There wasn't.
So we're still short on.
Well, yes, potentially.
We've got 6.
So that's 6, yeah.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to present for?
And if planning can be in earlier time, then I would go on, be happy to go on to planning, but 3 o'clock just doesn't work for me, I'm afraid. That's when I start work.
Okay, we'll take that to the planning meeting.
So,
Right, so if we could vote on all of those changes, if it's clear, then I can reiterate, but I think well, basically we've got some additions to the F&E committee are Councillors Hannah and Roy, and to the Cultural and Heritage one, Councillor Tame, and to planning, Councillor Hannah councillor Wood.
Is everybody clear what committees they are potentially on for this year? Anybody not clear?
I think it would be helpful to have a spreadsheet just to follow up if that's a possibility.
We won't go up 6 o'clock. Everyone in this room, 6 o'clock, everything you can.
Maybe 6 we should do.
We'll email around.
We shall email that information around to all councillors so that everybody absolutely knows what's going on. I propose therefore that we approve those members of those committees. Can somebody second? Thank you, Ethan. Can we vote in favour? Thank you. Can we vote any against? Any abstaining? Very much. Right, okay. Now on to item 8 to this. I jumped ahead. Lead councillors. Over to you as well, Scott.
Yeah, so we also have the working groups and the lead councillor, so that's this piece of paper which we could find off. Is this a good opportunity to clarify exactly which forums, groups and so on we have in place, and the membership as well? So if we could work through them from the top, that's great. So the procurement forum, is that still a thing?
We haven't met for some time. I'm happy to take a lead from the council on whether that's necessary. Excuse me. Yeah. No active.
Councillor Browning.
I'm just wondering, do each of these fora, whether they're live or dead, do they report to the committee? Because some of these are set up before the new committee structure came in.
That's a good point. We need to check to reference, we don't have that in front of me, but they certainly should do, absolutely right. That's something we can do.
So does that stop us from making this decision?
No.
Okay. Before we go on, there is a working group that's not on here, which is Youth Council working group that we had set up, although it hasn't properly met, but present I think there's only possibly 2 or 3 of us on.
It's fine.
Which I would like to be on, because of the security.
Okay, let's just confirm that.
Okay, so when we get to that, we'll confirm that. Okay. Right, I have people with hands up, so I am going to go. You. Okay.
And the environmental and climate change forum was
Right. I have a feeling that works.
Jackie.
It's a short-term one, but should the climate jury working group be on as well? I thought that was a working group. It could be, I think, my understanding was it was very much a one-off meeting because it needed to meet before the July council. So we can include it.
I would like to include it because I suspect it'd be up to the working group to decide whether they want to meet once or whether they need to meet more. I know it's for limited time only.
Right, so it's a procurement forum. Oh, sorry.
Anybody else want to say anything? Yes.
Also, I'd like to say about the procurement forum, I'd like to keep going with it really, and maybe reinvigorate it. Because the concept is that we rewrite the procurement policy for the council. And I still think that's important. So, perhaps if I talk to you, work out.
Yeah.
Reinvigorate that maybe.
Okay, so if we're going to keep it, we just check the membership.
Okay, so we will keep the procurement forum. At present, the membership is councillors Hannah, Burgess, Tiffy, Good. My first question are to the councillors that are on that list that are here. Do they wish to remain? Yes. Is there anybody that just double check? Okay. So is there anybody that wishes to join the procurement board?
I attend, whether I was ever officially there, I certainly attended meetings, get-togethers. I'm happy to do so again.
Okay. Now, the Bude-Stratton team BSTC reps down here are councillors Dawn and Good, neither of whom are here at present. I would like to say, I don't know, what do you think people are here?
We can certainly consult them afterwards, and then also see if there are any other comments around the room. Perhaps defer approving this till next meeting.
Okay, so I'm looking for expressions of interest, or at present, I'm looking for expressions of interest. Who would be interested on joining the Bude-Stratton team, the STC reps? Yes, Amanda.
I had a question, because in the past it was the mayor and the deputy mayor. It was one of those things that was automatically there, if you like. So I just wondered, because there's a limited amount of spaces we're allowed to have.
Yeah.
So if we're pursuing that route, I don't know if it's written into anything that is what we do, or whether that was just, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't like us to populate it and then find that actually Steve and Ethan should be top of the list if they want to.
I thought, oh, Councillor Moore.
I was going to say that Amanda's just really just said what I was going to say. I think Michael was there in this capacity as chairman, and there's probably a role that should be undertaken by the chairman. Because if he or she needs to know what's going on.
I was going to ask to put my name on that.
Yeah, so I'd say I don't think he would be offended if he put it off.
So I would like to still defer it because Councillor Good is not in the room. But I will certainly put myself forward, no matter what. In those circumstances. But I would like us to defer it, that decision until.
I'd just be interested with Councillor Howard be prepared to occupy that position if Councillor Dawn and Good were prepared to make it.
Yes, I would. Okay, so that's the third, myself and Deputy Mayor. Right, we've got the Wheel Sports Facility Workshop Group. I strongly suspect that Councillor Dawn will want to be on this. And then we have Councillor Boyd, Councillor Good, Councillor Taylor. So, Councillor Good is not in the room at the moment, but councillors in the room, I'm willing to stay on the Wheel Sports Facility.
I'd like to officially step back. I did unofficially quite some time ago because of when the meeting was. I was mayor at the time, so I had lots of other stuff anyway. So informally agreed that I wasn't going to be at the meeting. So if I step back officially.
When are the meetings?
Monday evening.
Monday evening.
Yeah.
Right. Can we say what time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Let all
Yeah.
I'm not more interested in doing that, but I would have to say Monday is a training. I would have to say. I'm just expressing an interest. Is there anybody else that would like to join this group? Yeah.
Possibly.
Possibly. So possible. Okay. So moving on to the inclusion forum. So far we have councillors Diffie, Good, Purchase and Tank. Are those councillors willing to stay on that?
I think it's an excellent.
Oh, is it? Is it pining for the fuel? Okay, right, so we don't need to worry about that. Right, land management working group, which is Councillor Brown, Councillor Cole, purchase, with officers supporting speed pace. So, are you willing to stay on it? Yeah. Councillor Cole, yes? Yeah. Is there anybody that wishes to join?
Not necessarily, but I was just going to ask, now that the committees have been set up, is it really necessary to have duplication? Is it all in?
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, that's a quite a short-lived one, just to draft some land management plans for the downs and stuff. Yeah, so it won't be on very much, just produce a document.
Yeah, would it be able to produce that in committee meeting by either council or?
It was set up by the FD committee.
Oh, was it?
So basically it's subset.
Yeah. So.
Is that what you're going to say? Okay, is there any, I'll just double check if anybody else wants to join it. Okay, so we'll move on to emergency planning. There are presently councillors Cole, Good, Purchase and Hannah. Officer support is Steve Hayes and Ingle. Those councillors in the room, are you willing to stay on? Okay, anybody who wants to join? Then we do this. And then we have a strange one which says communications policy, and it just says councillors. Can you explain that,
Yes, so there has been a suggestion that we set up this group which then create a document a little bit like the non-management plan. So to look at our communication policy and how we communicate effectively and correctly as council and who communications on. So most councils do have to be in place. We've also process like and adopted the social media policy, which is slightly different, and sort of do with our media relations and so on. And that does sound like a sensible thing to do. So it's a question then of if members are happy to do that and to create that group.
I would certainly have to.
I would like to be involved in this.
Yeah.
It's well known that I am quite keen on social media and so on, so I'd like to be involved.
Anybody else?
Yes, please.
Okay, right, so we have that one.
Can I, I'm not sure whether I propose or suggest that we create another task and finish group to look at standing orders, because I think there are some issues within there that I wasn't happy with when I stayed up late a couple of weeks ago and read through them when I couldn't go to sleep. I did go to sleep eventually, but I did find several issues that I thought we did need to address within them.
I looked through them recently, I found some contradiction. Yes.
Well, it's with reference to the Lord's Court Working Group. I don't really, not really concerned whether the Lord's Court Working Group continues as a separate group or whether that is assumed within one of the committees. I would suggest probably F&E. But it sort of needs to happen. There needs to be a greater level of oversight on Lord's Court and a sharper focus on the future for Lord's Court. So whether it's a working group or whether that working group is formally abandoned and under the the remit of that group passes to F&E is on wax, but I do believe we need to kind of move something in that time.
Well, I think the issue with the Lord's Court is that the strategy around Lord's Court sits in C&D, and the physical doing of things at Lord's Court sits in F&E. And I absolutely agree with Councillor Cole. It needs to be it needs to sit somewhere more clearly, and F&E seems to me to be the best place for it. And if it can be subsumed into the agenda for F&E, then that will reduce the need for working groups. But I think that will need to look at the committee terms of reference.
Right. So, dealing with this one thing at a time, first off, Peter has proposed standing, what did you call it?
Standing orders.
The standing
Well,
orders.
task and finish. So the group effectively fizzles out or dies, whichever you prefer to use when the work is done.
Peter has proposed a task and finish group based around standing orders. Now, so he made that proposal. You'll have seconded. Okay, thank you. Got a second. Who would like to vote in favour of such a group? Okay, and down. Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? Right, thank you. So that's carried. Therefore, who would like to join that group?
I don't agree. I think Tom, it's not of the meeting.
Well, I get it, but I want to appeal to Councillor O'Sullivan because I don't believe a working orders that a standing orders working group would be able to function without Councillor O'Sullivan in the room.
I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor. If I would be prepared to join a group of 3 councillors, then Councillor Roy, Councillor Vicky and myself, if that's the group, I will join.
So 3 people, anybody else? Okay.
Have you any idea when you'd like to meet the mornings or to be arranged?
Absolutely no idea whatsoever.
Provided it's not Monday or Friday.
I think probably what we'll do is we just quite when the group is formed, hopefully it will be in a moment, and then sometime in the next couple of weeks we'll circulate an email out to those people that have shown interest and find out a suitable time that everyone can make. Which you know,
Okay, right, I might be absent from it. But if I'm on it, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I think we have a membership of that group. That brings me to
So I'm going to say that I will gladly copy that one.
Thank you. And Kevin's made a proposal for a Lord's Court working group for the reasons that we presented. And we'd like to second that.
Well, it's not a proposal for the Lord's Court working group because that already exists.
Oh.
Well, what we have at the moment is the Lord's Court working group, which has met once. But there is, I would say, a conflict of interest between, or 4 terms of reference within that Lord's Court working group, because the things that were recommended by the working group are subsequently overturned by committee. My own personal preference, if pushed, is that the remit for all things Lord's Court should fall within a committee, and I would argue that the F&E committee is best placed to do it because it is a facility of the council, and also there's probably more scope within F&E C&D has a much broader remit. If we're not going to do that, and we're not going to place Lord's Court within a committee, if it's going to still sit across 2 committees, then I think we do need to reinvigorate the Lord's Court working group, because without that, there's lots of things that are going to fall through the gap.
Can I put you on the spot and say, what is your proposal?
My proposal is that the existing Lord's Court working group be wound up, that the activities of the Lord's Court working group and therefore words you want to say to make everything Lord's Court, or policy and operations of Lord's Court, all within the remit of the F&E committee.
Well, that's a different proposal. Then we'd like to comment on it or second it. Okay, so we have a second.
I would second it, because I always thought it was a bit odd that Lord's Court, which is like, should fall under F&E,
Yeah.
didn't seem to fall under FME. It always seemed odd.
Okay, so we have a proposal, a seconder. Can we take a vote on this? All those in favour? All those against? All those abstaining?
Can I just say, Mr. Mayor, one disadvantage of that is a great deal of what we've been talking about will be taken under confidential sessions. So to move out of the working group and into a committee, that committee will often be a closed session.
Peter.
Well, I was listening to some of the comments around the table earlier about these forums and there being a certain, not friction, but the forums were created when we didn't have committees. And it did strike me as perhaps the forums should be attached to a home at some point, and perhaps if there was confidential information, that just becomes the last agenda item within the committee, and we read out the exclude press and public.
Would that be something that would come under an alteration to the standing orders, and therefore with your proposal?
I don't think it necessarily would. It's just the way that we do business.
Okay, so we could potentially make that change now. So you made a proposal that we would attach forums to particular committees.
I would say where appropriate, because there may be one or two that doesn't quite fit.
Okay. Anybody wish to comment or second?
Technically, a working group doesn't have to be held in public. You can have a working group can, so that may be another option.
The other issue here is you're changing the terms of reference of the C&D committee.
Right. So can you explain?
That's not on the agenda.
We've just taken a vote though, and approved that. So it doesn't, but it doesn't have to happen immediately, does it? So what I could ask you to do is to go away and, as a result of the vote we've made, change the terms of reference. And then voting it, or is that too
Well, refer to Councillor O'Sullivan.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
We voted on something that isn't on the agenda, which is to change the terms of reference of the C&D committee, which currently has what's called under it.
And I'll bravely defer to it.
Everybody knows you.
So what I would say is that we proceed as agreed, but then to put an item on the agenda to change the order.
Okay, that worked. Better done.
I think the terms of reference of the committees has to be done before council. It's more reflective. So, yeah, so I think,
go through.
yeah, I think if it came back, we'd have to come back here.
Yeah. So we need
To
to
do that,
start the process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree that that's the reason. Okay. Councillor Smith.
The terms of reference, I think, would come under the review of standing orders.
That was the question.
Sorry?
I was asking that myself, sorry.
Yeah, I would suggest that as part of the review of standing orders, there's a review of terms of reference for committees.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Councillor Summers made a proposal there. Does anybody wish to second it? Okay, for the second, can we vote in favour?
Well, I'd like to suggest that the standing orders group is going to have an awful lot of work to do to get through a lot of the standing orders, and there's obviously changes that the group feel are important in that, and that's going to take some time. The change to the C&D committee could be discussed at the next C&D committee, which is on 16th of May, brought back to the 6th of June for the council, and then Lord's Court can go ahead. We're in a kind of, you know, a limbo of not understanding what we want to do with Lord's Court. And if we tie that committee, in terms of reference, into the standing orders committee, but I know I can't make a proposal which just negates the other proposal, but
That's actually technically, I suggested that I didn't actually propose it.
Oh,
I said it could happen.
It could.
And don't forget, you know, if unless orders of terms of reference are reviewed, the existing standing orders and terms of reference are valid.
Okay, town clerk, we are getting into a maze. Can I ask you a question? Do you feel that we are in a position that we can say that we started the process for potentially bringing the Lord's Court working group into one particular committee, and so we can move on from that? I'm mindful that Councillor Roy made an alternative proposal. Can you just remind me what the proposal was, Councillor Roy?
I'm afraid I can't. I've been trying to think around where we are, and I think what we've demonstrated around the table is a fairly clear idea of how we want to work.
Yeah.
But what we haven't done is regularise that in terms of formal standing orders and committee terms of reference. So my suggestion would be, if the table would accept it, that we can just accept the will of the council that this is how we're going to work, and we'll regularise it in the standing orders, committee terms of reference, work group, or
that makes sense.
Whichever one it is.
I would happily second that.
I think being reasonably relaxed about this, as long as it's what the table wants, which I don't think anybody objects to.
I don't think so, but we'll just test it. We have a proposal and a second. Can we vote in favour of that proposal?
What are we voting
What
on?
are you voting on?
Okay, so we are voting for, to be clear on this, I'll try and simplify that a little bit. We're voting in favour of the forums as they stand, and that we are going through a process of connecting Lord's Court to a particular committee, and that we will look into the standing orders in order to make necessary changes that might help these forums work better. Is that too vague?
Yeah.
So it's a
You're
vote.
you're voting for all the, we have to start all the groups, basically, so
No,
then.
yeah, okay, so I'm getting involved down here. I'm just like, Councillor Burgess.
I think what we want to do is to incorporate the activities of your school working group into the FLE committee from the next meeting onwards, and then regularise the position in terms of the standing orders and committee terms of references.
But that's changing the CMD terms of reference, and that's not on the agenda for tonight.
So,
Can't do that.
so what I suggest is that we don't try and wrap that up in a formal proposal. We just accept it's the way that we're going to work, and that we'll regularise that in the standing orders.
Right, now I understand it. So can I suggest that we basically accept that and move on at this point, although we do have, the clerk just noted and said there are two, is it?
Yes, youth council on the fund.
Okay, so I would like to be on the youth council. Is there anybody else like to be on that youth council?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Two.
We are.
Casey.
Yeah. So that's where we'll start from there. And climate jury. I would like to go on that. I might not be able to make all the meetings.
That's a single meeting. Is that to consider the recommendations? Is that right?
Yeah, we just defining it because we don't know if it's going to be a single meeting or we're going to have multiple meetings. So we're having So could councillors just simply put their hands up if they want to be on the climate jury working group?
This is to do with the recommendations.
Yes, it is. Yes, to consider the recommendations. Okay. Right.
If I could just speak to Councillor Law afterwards, I think we need to be interested in these.
Yeah, I think you might do. So, we're accepting the process is going on. We're trying to get past the first things the councils, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know if it's an appropriate time, but I've listed this list going on to 2 pages. You've got the representative of the town team, we haven't got a representative of the VCP. So that's for these councillors for me to work through.
Yeah.
So yes, it's number 17, youth climate partnership.
Oh, we'll do that, Carl, yeah.
So,
Yes, I mean, that should work through these as well, and we can just think about the rooms on.
okay, so is everybody clear what we're doing? Because that was quite a torturous bit of organising there. We have now agreed these working groups and forums with a few complications, and we've accepted that they're working forward in a particular way. We're now going to move on to lead councillors. Again, hand over to you.
Well, if we could just work through the list, okay, so under the first one, education and early years, shows some assigned.
That was Kelly and Sean originally. Obviously, Kelly isn't with us anymore, but Sean, did she? Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Just want to put this in.
Okay, Amanda's putting something.
Social welfare.
Social welfare.
Let's assume that's something to stay.
Okay, private and community safety.
I am happy to continue, but I'm equally happy to pass that chalice on to someone else.
Well, I attend, well, the name of it, Bude-CCTV partnership. And usually after we've had a meeting, I'll give a very brief report back to the council. I also have regular contact with the policemen for a whole variety of different issues, some of which I do report back. So I'll be quite keen or happy to sit alongside Councillor Colwell on this one. I don't know if you wish to continue, maybe you should come to the CCTV.
Yeah, my issue, as ever, is I'm not free in the evening apart from Thursday. But I'm happy to continue in the role, and I'm very happy to have Councillor Boy as a sort of Batman to my Robin.
Okay, I think we can move on to youth provision. Councillor Glory's not here. I thought we will. Right, community, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. So obviously when Councillor Daw was mayor, he asked if someone would take on that role alongside with him. So, and that was me.
Okay.
However, now he's no longer mayor, I'm assuming he will probably want to continue that, whether he wants to continue sharing the role or whether he may feel he's got more time to take on that by himself again. I don't know.
So are you indicating that you could do, you might or might not?
I mean, I would love to stay on as the youth provision, and happy to work alongside Councillor Daw.
Okay, so we'll put your name there. Okay. Community groups. Councillor Difford. Yeah. Heritage. Councillor Brown. Yeah. Environment and biodiversity. Councillors Browning and Purchase.
It's leave it to Councillor Browning.
Okay.
So, are you staying?
I'll cross myself off the environment list.
Right.
And hopefully stay on function.
Climate change. Councillor Purchase. Okay. Sport. Councillors Daw and Anna.
I'd like to resign from that one, please.
Anybody that would like to put themselves potentially a double with Councillor Daw or by themselves? Okay. Housing. Councillor Hope. Coulson?
It can be quite challenging at times. I'm happy to stick with it.
Economic Development, Councillor Good is not in the room. If Councillor Good wishes to continue, that's fine, but we could have more than one. Is there anybody that would like to be interested in that? I have particular interest in that, so could you put my name on there? Health and the older community. Yes.
I just wanted to pass on a message from Councillor Carpenter that she would very much like to stay in that.
Anybody wishes to join on that? Okay. Transport and connectivity, Councillor Good. Would you like to take a join Councillor Good on that? Or do it by themselves? Councillor Good. Okay, good one. Arts and cultural, Councillor Dicker.
Unless someone else wants to.
Okay. Diversity and inclusion.
I would be very interested in that.
Okay.
Can I just check? Because I think I was voted on to join Sean. No, I know Sean isn't there.
Yeah.
Would you like to do it, Katie?
I mean, I'm very happy to share. I would love to have.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That would be great. Yeah.
Armed Forces Community, Councillor Hillcourt.
It's been a challenging time. If somebody would like to take it on, they've only got to wave flags and salute and things.
You've done an excellent job, and I'm like,
Well, after those kind words, I can't use.
You took the hospital person around the road.
Youth Climate Partnership, Councillor Hannah.
If there's anyone that would like to share it, then I would be very open to that.
Would anyone like to share it?
I'm happy to share.
Okay, right. Okay, we're going to vote on all those in favour of these lead councillors in these roles. Okay, thank you. All those against? All those that abstain? Thank you very much. We can move on. Okay, receive the mayor's report. Lou, did Councillor Dawn leave something with you to read out?
No, that's actually for the lead, oh yes, sorry, the lead councillor that is. That's lead councillor. Is that right? No, is that? Yeah, it's for the lead councillor. It's arranged to read on her behalf
Okay,
at
so
the end.
we don't have a mayor's report.
We don't, I think Councillor Dawn was going to say a few words, but I'm not here and we've been in the role long enough to report.
No. So we will move on to 9, to note any reports from Cornwall councillors. Councillor Roy.
thank you. Congratulations on your election to be our chair and the mayor of the. I want to pay tribute to everybody who joined in and put their names forward, because I know how difficult it is to put your head above the parapet and then be prepared to have it shot at. And it's not a nice feeling when you don't get elected. It's very straightforward, because you set yourself up to work hard for the council, you make promises, and then you don't get elected and it feels a bit deflating. So all tribute to everyone, and especially those that did get elected, and tribute, of course,
I second what you said.
to Mike Dorr, who led us through last year with a wonderful job. Those of you who know that I quite like words, but I just want to give a very quick thank you to Councillor Browning for using the word fora earlier. Which of course is the correct plural for forum, as opposed to forums. But anyway, never mind. I know. Right, okay, I'll make it very, very quickly. We had quite a good back and forth between the members of the public that attended our town meeting on Tuesday. And it was fairly clear that my main focus and interest at the moment is on the canal, making sure that the dredging gets completed. It's way over time, as you probably all know. The main simple reason for that is that it's been so wet. They haven't, the dredgings haven't dried sufficiently to be able to guarantee that the zebra mussel content are eradicated to allow the dredgings to be moved off site. You'll all notice that it's been the sheet piling work. We've made loads of noise, and the capping stones haven't gone on as quick as they wanted to, but they are getting on with that work. The bank repair by the sand rails we have spoken about at some length, but that still seems to be some way away because of the need to make sure that any repair is respectful to the sand rails and the history of that particular area. But I am also incredibly aware that that finger of land that effectively extends from the Little Arch Castle Gateway to the lock gate is incredibly sensitive, and if that goes, the canal goes, and we are in, we're deep in it. So that does need to be done properly. I know also that the lock gates, even though they were replaced in the early 2000s, the timber that was used is not as good as the original timbers that were they replaced. And there are some very serious rotting issues on many positions within the gates, and some of the bits of the gates, their balance arms have been repaired and replaced. But I think there are issues further down underwater. So at some point in the next 3 or 4 years, I think those lock gates are going to need replacing. Another element of discussion that we had, and it was rather unfortunate, the making space for sound project appeared to get conflated with the climate during the presentation. I think separating those in our minds is a very important thing to do. The community that attended very clearly were concerned, some for, some against, that the Making Space for Sound project, but it's not the recommendations of the jury. I just want to make that point. The other thing that's on my mind, of course, is making sure that we do respect the breakwater and make sure that that's repaired appropriately. So I'm working with the agencies of Cornwall Council. It's the Harbour Authority, affected from the harbour downwards and out into the breakwater, and it's the Countryside Agency of Cornwall Council, which is the inland part of the canal. But that is, I believe, going to be my main focus of activity and concentration with Cornwall Council activities in view over the next year. Happy to answer any questions, but I think those members of the public here tonight were also at the meeting on Tuesday. Any further questions?
Okay, do any members of the public have questions of Councillor Ball? Okay,
I've just got a quick question. Whose responsibility are the lock gates? Ours or Cornwall Council's?
Cornwall Council, Harbour's Authority.
Thank you.
Ethan, heave a sigh of relief. Yes.
Can I just say, Councillor LeBroy did do an excellent job of fielding an awful lot of questions at the town meeting.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for that.
I think he was dying to sit down more than once.
Okay. Okay, right, move on to the next one, which is to do with minutes, and 10A. Full council to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 18th of April 2024. Okay, Ethan seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? All those that abstain? Okay, right. B, committees to receive the notes and minutes of the committee meetings listed below. 1. Planning Committee, 10th and 24th of April 24. Do we vote this together or single? Okay, so all those in favour of Planning Committee, 10th and 24th of April 2024.
It was, of course, proposed and seconded.
Of course it was. Of course it was. Thank you. Okay.
I abstained on that.
You abstained on that. Anybody against? Sorry. Start again. I'm rushing. First one, let's do it right. Who proposes that we accept?
I propose to accept the planning committee minutes on the 10th.
Who would like to second that? Okay. All those in favour? Hands down. All those against? And those that would like to abstain? Thank you. Right. 2, Facilities and Environmental Services Committee, 11th of April 2024. Opposed?
Opposed.
Second. Okay. All those in favour? All those against? All those who would like to abstain? Okay. And right, C, we have a recommendation, which I will ask somebody to explain to me in a second. This is FES 023/24 to recommend to full council that the price increase be deferred in order to explore the current provider contract and to gather background information, read the current usage of the BSTC parking place.
Add a little bit more information on that. So that the item was discussed. That was a quote had been obtained to change the price of the parking in the car park. And it was horrendously expensive, 800 or something.
Without the
Plus that. And so the committee wished us to investigate further because we had a feeling it wasn't quite right. And the quote that's come in now is for £307. So while it's still a few hundred, it's
Do you want me to explain why?
yeah, yes.
They also quoted for our old machines as well as the new machine.
So it would be, I would suggest it would be helpful to have those upgraded to the correct price and to sort of tidy up that, that facility because that is, it's currently a little bit awkward the fact that it's out of £90 anyway from and council already agreed that they wish to increase the playground, which is more easy for users to deal with anyway. So that would be the cost. So I don't know if members would like to agree that.
Can I just ask, is the 307 with or without that?
We don't pay that.
No, maybe it's throwing it, but it's actually without that, it's got carriage in there though. So
before we go down that route, I might ask councillors if they'd like to ask any questions about this. Yes.
So I'm not quite understanding. Are we being asked to endorse this recommendation or not?
Yes, I'm a little clear on that. Oh, the wording of this says to recommend to full council that the price increases be deferred in order to explore. It appears to be that you've
we've
explored.
already done that.
So where do we stand on that?
Well,
Just say that the council has been said it's already agreed to make it a thing.
yes.
So that's been resolved anyway, so that still stands. So basically, you just ignore this now because it's about the
Propose the item is left on the table.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Okay, all those in favour of leaving the item on the table?
Just go away 6 months.
All those in favour of leaving the item on the table? Thank you. And those against? All those that abstain? Okay. Cool. So we can move on to that. Right. 11. To consider and approve the council's insurance cover.
Right, yes, so I'm afraid that's.
Thank you.
I put to a report for this meeting. The information I needed and chased yesterday, arrived yesterday, and there's actually quite a lot of documents, and there was some complexity, skate park, and some other issues that I wanted clarification on. So I'd like to present that properly to you at the next meeting.
Okay, so we will move on to that. Okay. Item 12, to approve finance reports. So the first one is the schedule of payments made between the 19th of April to the 2nd of May 2024. So Does anybody, first of all, have any questions about that? Councillor Moore?
No, I was going to propose they noted. Point of view 8.
Well, I would certainly second that. Those in favour of noting? Those against? Those abstain? Okay, next one. B, schedule of payments to be made on the 3rd of May 2024, which are attached. Does anybody have any questions? Go on,
No question, I propose that they made.
I will certainly second that. All those in favour? Those against? Those abstained? Okay, moving on. C, to consider any potential conflicts, this is what this is, to consider any potential conflicts of interest with the external auditor, BDO LLP, and approve any associated actions. Now, I'll have this for. Yes.
Yes, so this is a standard form which is provided by our external auditor, and as part of the end of year process, we need to confirm that we have no conflicts of interest and we're not friends with the auditor or related or what have you. So the form just basically says this needs to be completed annually, minutes of the meeting and so on. So it just says that I confirm that there are no conflicts of interest with BDO. So I will need you to agree with that, please.
Propose the form is completed and signed.
I second that. No. Sorry. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstained? Then we shall do that. Okay. And then number 13, to agree the 2024-2025 schedule of meetings. Does any councillors have any questions? Having seen the proper schedule of meetings.
That's miraculously all changed to 6 p.m.
Yes.
I'll compute it with all.
Okay, in which case I propose that we accept the new schedule of meetings for 2024 to 2025.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
So I'd like to say if we can change the time of that, that's okay, isn't it?
Okay. So, all those in favour? All those against? Any abstaining? Okay, moving on. To receive any updates from lead councillors.
I've got one to read out from Lorraine.
Okay. And Mr. Master, so you first.
Okay, so I'm Lorraine. Hi, this is my report as lead councillor of the health portfolio. There's been lots going on behind the scenes. As you know, last year there was a plan to organise a health steering group. This would be headed by a GP who had already started a steering group in, I believe, the Saltash area. We met at Stratton Hospital with lots of different people, including the NHS, Friends of Stratton Hospital and former councillors. The meeting was incredibly passionate and offered the possibility of being heard. Although myself and the Cornwall councillors chased this and tried to get this going, unfortunately the doctor was moved to a different post, which seems to be usual but very frustrating. As you know, I'm the lead councillor for the CAP, the Community Area Partnership, which is combined with a number of other parishes. We had a meeting with the NHS and different agencies, and we voted on a group to be set up specifically for health and wellbeing, potentially offering us a chance to discuss issues from Bude and the surrounding areas. This will also be a route to pass on the information to the NHS, which will come directly from the public. We've now had 2 meetings, which have been very interesting and very productive. Nikki Chopak, Cornwall councillor, is the chair, and I was asked to be the vice chair of the Health and Wellbeing Group. We are now looking into what we would like to work on. I have the information available from the surveys from last year, but I will also be asking for the public's input. We're just about to start advertising that the group is starting, and we will be able to let you know exactly what we're doing very soon, although it has had to be postponed as I will be out of action for the next month or so. We have, as a group, visited another CAP area, which was very interesting again, and it was suggested that we work together on some things as more voices may have more impact. We found that some of the issues were very similar, as you would expect in the Cornwall area. There will also be work done on the cross-border issues, which, as you will probably know, Nikki Chopak is very passionate about. I do hope you find this as exciting as I do, as this will hopefully be a way to have our voice heard in the area. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Lorraine.
Thank you. Can I propose that we note and thank Lorraine for her written report. And I'd like to personally acknowledge that the first time I met Lorraine was long before she became a councillor, and she has been invested in sorting out local health for years now, and her commitment is just an example to everybody. So I propose that we note and thank Lorraine for the report. Somebody second it, please. Thank you, Councillor Browning. Can we vote in favour? Thank you. Against? Abstain? Okay. And that moves us on to, oh, no. I need a break on me, don't I? So, okay, I'm sorry, Councillor Browning.
Just a quick one really on environmental biodiversity. Eli wants to have noticed the no-mow May sign went on a couple of days early, which is great. So on areas like the Downs, Shoulder Hill, Mayor Garden, and various other spots will be left for May and perhaps beyond. So part of the land management the sort of draft plan that's in process is, and we discussed this with Steve, leaving those areas longer because remember the biodiversity survey that was organised last year around this time actually found lots of things there that don't finish their flowering until July and August. So we'll be playing around with that. So yeah, just a sort of heads up really. Make sure you have a little wander across those on sunny day and see what you see. And then not wearing my Bude-Stratton Town Council hat, but this week I did attend an online meeting, one of the first ones of the Dunes Management Group, which is in a very sort of nascent form. Came out of the climate, the Making Space for Sand project, I think. So again, like I say, it's very early days with that. They're meeting again on the 11th of May at the Dunes to have a little look at what needs doing, what's there. And I'll happily report back and perhaps the Facilities and Environment Committee and just see if we ever want to take a more formal role in that group.
Who's facilitating that group, please?
A chap called Andy Nelson from Cornwall Wildlife Trust.
With my housing hat on, the Institute of Cornish Studies has got Professor Malcolm Williams, the University of Exeter. He's going to be doing a study which is basically going to be looking really at who lives in a lot of the new homes that have been built. Because we've had an awful lot of new homes built in Cornwall, but it hasn't solved our housing crisis. So they want to find out who is actually living in these homes. Apparently the survey is going to target 5,000 homes to look at the people within them. A similar study was done by Cornwall Council back in the 1980s, and they're saying Cornwall is exceedingly different to Devon because Devon has a lot of large urban areas, whereas we don't really have those large urban areas. The problems that you get in one area, you get everywhere. And one of the big problems from a study that came out last year was the affordability gap in Cornwall is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I had to leave.
Yeah, I agree. Colleagues of mine had to leave for that reason. Yeah. And it's very actually difficult to recruit staff because of the simple price of moving, which is bizarre given what a beautiful place this is. And it's a beautiful place to work, but the cost is a barrier. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that sounds really interesting. I'd really like to take that to the planning committee or the NDP review as well. Because I think the final.
Well, when it comes out, because it's just about the fact that it's being going to be done second at the moment.
Sounds interesting.
So we should see.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much, councillors, for reporting on that. Now we move to item 15, to receive any correspondence from the clerk.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Number 16, to note the date of next meeting being the 6th of June 2024. Okay, I have to say to you, I'm not going to use the gavel. The reason I'm not going to use the gavel is that I have a hearing problem, and when the gavel goes off, my hearing aids go bang in my head. So, if you will just allow me to say, this meeting is now ended. Thank you.